Hey guys, Maju up here, and welcome back to our Let's Learning Java Beginning Java series. We're on episode number 6 now, and today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be getting input from our command prompt, right? We're going to be talking about input, because that's going to be useful for making programs later on. Right now I'm just covering the basics, but I mean, I can tell you all day about if statements and loops and variables and all that, but if you don't know how to use them to make actual programs, it's very unhelpful information. So, we're going to be making programs, some small ones, that will show you how these if statements, loops, variables all interact together to actually make a program. How do you make, how do you take variables and loops and if statements, and how do you make, like, Call of Duty or something? Some crazy program. Well, they're all made from just that, variables, loops, and while loops and all that. But if you don't know how to use them properly, you're not going to be able to make those things. So let's talk about getting basic input from our scanner, from our command prompt. So what we're going to need is we're going to need a class already made in Java, because making our own would be silly because it's already made. So we need to import something. So above our public class, we can import other code from other classes, right? We have our tutorial class. We want to import something from the scanner class. How can we find out stuff about that? Well, if we go here, I type in Java scanner, right? This is called the Java docs, and the Java docs has all the information on all the code that Java has to offer. So this is all stuff that's already been coded, it's already been tested, it works on all platforms, it works nice. It's called the scanner, and the scanner will allow us to get input from our command prompt. So we need to import that, and to find out what we need to import is we need to look for this right here. So there may be multiple, there may be like even 5 here, but the very last one is the location of our scanner class. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it here, right? So we're going to import from Java, from the utility folder. These are folders. This is the Java folder, the utility folder. I want the scanner.class, right? We have our tutorial.class. I want the scanner class. So this will allow us to now create scanner objects. So to create objects, it's the same way as like a data type, a variable. It's just instead of using int, we're going to be saying scanner, right? So we're going to say scanner, and we'll call it input, right? Now we need to initialize this. So what I'm going to set this equal to is system.in. Actually, no. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say new scanner. Okay? And I'm going to set that equal to the system.in. Now, I just made an object. When you declare an object, you have to say it's a new object. So I'm going to say scanner input is equal to a new object, and I'm going to call the scanner class, and we're going to say system.in. Okay? So, now this may look weird. What is this? This is called a constructor. So when you create a class for the very first time, you call the constructor of it. Now we haven't gone into constructors. We don't have a tutorial constructor, although we kind of do. It's a default inherited one that does nothing, but we don't have one for tutorial yet. We'll be getting into that probably next episode. Actually, we'll talk about our actual making constructors. But this constructor here is the scanner constructor, and we're going to give it the system.in. Remember, system is basically our command prompt, and the in is the input from our command prompt. Just like we were using system.out to print to the command prompt, we're going to use system.in to take from the command prompt. So now, the handy dandy thing about our Java docs here is it tells us all of the methods that we can use to get input from our scanner. Now methods, and well, actually most of these are functions. So a function, it will return something. So right here is our return type, right? So these return booleans and strings. Just like here we return void. Well, it has a void, but a lot of these return information to us, which is useful. We want it to return information. So what we're going to do is we're going to read in a number, right? So what we want is we're going to use a next integer, right? The next integer, you can even click on it and it'll take you to information, and it scans the token of the input as an int. So it'll give us back an integer. That's the main thing we want here. So I'm gonna say int number is equal to input dot next int. So what we're doing is we're calling this method, this code next int, and it's going to return an integer and store it into number. I'm going to say system dot out dot print line. And I'm going to say the number. Oh, I need our quotes. Your quotes. Then the number you inputted 2 T's, whatever, is equals, and then after that, after the quotes, I'm going to add plus number so that it'll print out what our number is that we inputted. I'm going to save that. I'm going to compile. And compiles fine, and then we're running it. And now it's going to, we need to input something. Nothing's going to happen until we input something. So we can actually type in, I'm going to type in 45 and press enter. And the number you inputted is 45. Wow, crazy, right? That's how we can get input from our command prompt, right? So we can do this for more than just integers. We can do this for entire sentences. So if I wanted to get like a whole line of text, so I'd say next line. Now this, we can't store it as an integer because this is actually a string. I'm going to call this text is equal, and I'm going to put text here at the end of my output. Right, so now instead of getting a number, we're going to get whatever words we type in. I compile that, works fine, and I run it, and I say, hey, how you doing? The number you inputted is, hey, how you doing, right? Works the same. We can also, so there's next, there's also next, but the thing is with next is it will divide it by spaces. So if I hit compile, and I run it, and I type in, hey, how are you doing? The number you inputted is hey. So it only gets the first thing from the space. And actually, these are still stored as input. So if I actually, now I'm going to make a while loop here. Let's say while input dot. Now we're going to use another method here, and it's called, actually right here, it's called has next. So as long as it has information for me, I'm going to do this. That has next. I'm going to do system.out.println input.next. So as long as there's information for it to give me, I want it to give it to me. We're just gonna do that. I'll say file, run, say, hey, how you doing? And then it prints out, hey, it says, how are you doing? Right? Because it took in our hey as our first next, and it ate that up, but there was still more information behind it, which is how are you doing? And so it printed those out on its own line. So this kind of way of getting information is very handy for making little like games. So if say we wanted to make tic-tac-toe, we could ask you to input what number, like, you know, what square on the board do you want to input? So you'd press 1 and we'd put it in the top left corner and stuff like that. So that's the main uses that we're going to be getting out of our scanner input for scanner class. So I hope that makes sense. I know I threw out some information here that I haven't covered yet, like methods and functions, but that's actually the topic of our next episode. I figured maybe looking at already made functions and methods might be better before we actually start making our own. So those are ones that are already made. Java, you can see from here. This is called Java Docs. It's all the information on the files. You can make your own Java Docs, which actually like it'll fill out this kind of all this information for you and make it nice and dandy like this. It's actually already like automatic thing Java does. But yeah, hopefully you learned something from this episode, just remember our scanner class. It'll come up within the next couple episodes as we continue to make programs. So I think that's going to do it for this episode. Comment, rate, subscribe, and thanks for watching.